Talk and Power, your motorsport and motoring radio show, podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.
Welcome to another episode of Stories from the Garage, and on this episode we are graced with the pleasure of Adam Ward, host of The Pod Filter and all other things automotive. Thanks for joining us, Adam.
Thank you. No worries. Yeah, your show's really gone downhill if you have to get me on.
No, I've been
which is
wanting
a good
to get
thing
you on.
because obviously we're in competition, so the worse you do, the better we look.
No, we're not in competition at all.
We're not. No, we've got an agreement in place. Yeah.
We need to work together.
Yeah, you do the motorsport stuff and we do the dodgy stuff.
That's it. Hey, tell us a little bit how you're travelling along Pod Filter, and I know Simon's been away in the US. You managed to get over to SEMA as well, and he's been doing a bit. Tell us a little bit, and you've been doing a lot of work on your cars, which you'll be telling us about shortly. But just tell us how and where we can find the podcast.
Yeah, sure. So it's the Pod Filter podcast, and you can just chuck in the Pod Filter in any app or anywhere where you get a podcast. So anywhere where you're listening to this one, you'll be able to find us right alongside.
Yep.
Yeah, we're in a bit of a hiatus at the moment, obviously with Corona and all the rest of the things going on. But just earlier today, we were discussing a couple of changes, which should be very interesting. So bit of a exclusive for yours that ours is going to change in a few ways, which should be interesting.
Oh, good. Oh, we look forward to hearing about that.
And I've been doing a lot of planning for our next quiz.
Oh, yeah.
You'll remember the quiz that you're on. Actually, I think we've got a couple of photos of
we have.
If you're
watching
J-Mac.
If you're watching the YouTube version, you can see that right now. J-Mac and DJ with a firm grip on that trophy.
Yeah, which, like us, are on a bit of a hiatus for their podcast. I think you're the one that's truly won that series, since you're the only one still going at the moment. So.
Oh, look, Simon and that's Travellini Gonzo and Todd, they have a passion to keep pushing it out, and we're trying to find things to talk about. So, we felt it was, we could, with Zoom, it allows, it's really, it's made it, to be honest with you, it's made it easier for me. We don't need to get into a studio. We don't need to, the post editing is much easier with Zoom. So I've actually enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And it opens up for a load more guests as well.
Definitely.
You've been stuck out here in WA. There's not a lot of people that travel out here, especially if Barbagallo's not running. If
That's
the track's
right.
not running, no one's coming out. So,
I
really like the opportunity to be able to get a load more other people.
Yeah. So, Adam, let's start off with, I guess, the one right behind you that we can see right now, the tank as it's aptly named. It's actually, a lot of people would get that confused for a Galaxy or a Fairlane, but it's not, is it?
Fairlane, yeah. Look, when I very first saw it, I thought it was a ZD Fairlane. I could only see the front headlights. I assumed it was a ZD Fairlane. But yeah, the tank is my old girlfriend. The missus is always keep competing with the 56-year-old other girlfriend. So, so she's a 1966 Mercury Comet Cyclone GT, which is going to be the longest name for a car. But, picked her up in America, nearly 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And been playing with it ever since.
You bought that one back, you crate moded that one?
It is. Yeah. So when I bought it, the motor was sitting in the boot. So in parts.
Yeah, okay.
So I do have the original block, the 426, but it's really hard to get parts for and really expensive to get parts for. So the crate motor was an easier option.
So tell us a little bit about the heritage of this car then. This is ex-NASCAR. That's correct?
It is. Well, it was the homogenization package for NASCAR.
Yep.
So they made 1,000 of them so that they could race.
Yep.
That's in the GT model. There's obviously the other models. This is the hard top, but there's also a coupe which has a pillar. Still only 2 doors, but the roof line's a bit different. And then there's Calientel and a couple of other different versions of it that they made. And a soft top. The soft top's the popular one. It was the pace car in NASCAR in '66. And 67 they raced them. Yeah. So very stripped down. There's no like rear view mirrors or indicators or anything on them. They're very stripped back. It has AC controls that are fake. Yeah, they're just kind of like stuck on the dash. They don't actually do anything.
But that was fairly typical for homologized. Geez, I can't even say the word.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that put that up.
That's basically fairly standard when you're homologating a car. I'll say it that way instead. Homologating a car for the Yanks. That was fairly typical, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just to get them out so they could go racing. They didn't really care.
Yeah.
It was just they had to so they could race.
Yeah.
But one of the very first funny cars was a '66 Cyclone. So the first ever tilt-up body. So they took a fiberglass mold of the entire car and made a funny car body that tilted up. Freiberger from Roadkill was talking about it recently. He found one that was for sale. It was on his Instagram, I think. Yeah. He was going through the heritage of why that car is so important to American drag racing as well as NASCAR.
Yeah, most certainly. And it is. It's. I mean, once you look at the car even from the rear, you get a quick feel of it that it is not a Fairlane. It's not a Galaxy. It is quite different. And if you're watching the YouTube video, you'll be able to see Adam's been kind enough to give us a whole lot of stills on his car. And it's an awesome looking beast. I love it. I've always loved the 2-door. I don't know if you listened to a couple of episodes ago, we talked about the ultimate road trip, and I picked actually a '66 Galaxy, which is not too far removed from that. Yeah. I mean, I've always loved them. So, no, nice.
Hey, look, feel free to quiz me. I've listened to every single one of your episodes. I think you guys were a big inspiration for us starting.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Well, before you thank me, I thought, God, if Gonzo can do it, surely I can do it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to be pretty simple if you can get him on. I'm going to back him out just because he's not here.
No, he'll enjoy that.
It'll be a good test to see if he listens to his own podcast.
Yeah,
you may know very.
I'll make sure he does. Let's put it that way. And moving along, that's a great car, but let's go back a few years here. I know you were really keen in the that audio side of motoring back in the day. So I can't remember.
Back in the day, I was
Auto Salon era.
Yeah, Sex Spec era. So the Monte Carlo guys call it. Yeah, which is a brilliant name for it. Same, we never called it that at the time, but the Sex Spec era. I was in there. It was an opening for the Cockroach building in the city. What's it called? The Exhibition Centre. Yeah. One of the very first things they had there was Auto Salon. Yep. So it was a quite interesting trying to get cars in there, or that amount of cars in there, and they weren't 100% sure the floor was going to hold because they had so many cars in there. They thought maybe we'll all end up in the car park underneath. So
I didn't know that. There you go. I was actually at that show. I attended that to have a look around, and I didn't know that was some doubt over.
It was 3 days. Yeah, we all put our cars in on the Friday and the Saturday, Sunday. It wasn't until Sunday night that we could get out again.
So tell us a little bit. You built PT Cruiser in that era. We're talking now early 2000s, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've gone back.
You realise a lot of people just tuned out the second you said PT Cruiser. So they'll turn it off in disgust. Not going to listen to this crap. No,
but
so I got a second-hand. Yeah, there's plenty of photos. I lean into it now. I'm not going to be embarrassed by it. It was in the era. It was a cool car. And if I was driving around in it now, it'd probably be a bit different. But so it was a one of the first generation PT Cruisers. It was one of the first ones that ever came up secondhand.
Mm-hmm.
The original owner bought it and realised that it was gutless because it had the little four banger out of the Chrysler Neon in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, they look like they should be a fast car, but they're clearly not. So yeah, I picked it up fairly cheap secondhand and modified the crap out of it as I do all my cars.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where my nickname comes from. They call me Meat Axe because I hack things. I hack up cars and destroy them basically. But yeah, you'll see the pictures. But it's PT Cruiser. It had a load of different stereos in it because I was part of the West Australian Car Stereo group, which was a brilliant show, group of people because you had people from all walks of life and all different vehicles.
Yeah.
Usually when you're in a group, say Steel Bumpers, you get a lot of the same kind of people.
Yeah.
Whereas the Car Stereo one, it was just the friends that I've still got now from that group of people is amazing, But the record I got with it was, I think it was 153 decibels.
Wow.
So pretty loud. If you know the decibel scale, it's kind of like a jet engine at takeoff if you're standing behind it, kind of thing. So
I was going to quantify that for our listeners. Basically, as for those that go to the drag, Super Street, they have a 90 decibel maximum. So 90 decibels is your Super Street car, and that can be quite loud. But correct me if I'm wrong.
And also, it's non-linear. So
exactly, that's what I was about to say. It's 7, isn't it?
Yeah.
7 decibels is double.
Well, it's non-linear, so it doesn't go up in even steps.
Yeah.
Hence the part of the linear. So once you get to 100 decibels, each decibel feels like it's double.
Yeah.
And it gets smaller and smaller each step as you go up the scale. So
yeah.
Once you hit the 150, it's really hard to get over 150. I mean, there are guys now doing like 160-ish.
Yeah.
And between 150 and 160 is probably about 30-40 grand worth of equipment to get that extra thing beat.
But Adam, tell us, where do you think that movement's gone? Because I'm not convinced it's quite there anymore. I went to Kebabs and Cars a few months ago, and there was only 2 cars there that had that sort of the stereo.
I mean,
still there?
Yeah, the car stereo side of things has always been a bit underground and a bit off the fringes. There's a lot more people that get upset about a loud car stereo than there is people that enjoy it. So, and it's not something you could just, do in your carport kind of thing. It's a bit like doing burnouts, if you do it, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So, organising event. I mean, there's definitely still, it's now called WACA, so WACA, the West Australian Car Stereo Association. And there's a whole new generation of guys in there doing some pretty cool stuff. We'll still keep tabs on it, but obviously not really doing stereo stuff. I still got it all. The same system that was in the PT ended up in a car we called the Tarzan, which was a Mazda 323.
Yep.
It was called Tarzan because 323 sounds a bit like tree to tree, hence Tarzan.
Yeah, okay.
That was what they call a dedicated SPL car, so it was not registered. It had a full wall, they call it, box. So from the back of the front seats all the way to the boot was a box, roof to floor. And it had about 38 bags of concrete poured in between the box and the car.
Oh my God.
To stabilize it. So it did about 20K max.
Yeah.
And that, I think it got about 155 from what I can remember. I mean, this is all back in the days. This was at Motivation, at the peak of the years of Motivation, when they did a full 3 days. And I remember they put us up the top and the back of the speedway track, and we were right next to the band. They had a local death metal band that wasn't very good. Sorry if you're listening, whatever the hell you're called, Technophobia or something. But yeah, every time the band started, we drowned them out with our cars.
Yeah.
So you couldn't hear the band, even though they were, fairly well set up. It was good fun. It was good for a laugh.
Yeah.
But it went from that, and then I actually had the system in the Festi for my wedding. That was the jukebox for our wedding. That was late last year.
Yep.
Which was quite good. Again, got in a bit of trouble testing it a couple of days before the wedding. I had some neighbours from the other side of town come over and tell me that I was rattling their windows and I need to turn it down. So, yeah, it's good to know it all still works.
Well, speaking of which, maybe we should move on to the Festi as well. Now, that's let me get this right. That is actually a Ford Festiva, not to be confused with a Fiesta.
Yes, two different models.
That's right, yeah. So tell us, you've had that one for a little while as well, but you've been...
I have.
The volume of work you've done on that has been...
We bought our property 4 years ago now in Beverley. And one of the reasons, there was two main reasons for buying the place out there. One was somewhere to have our wedding, because originally we were looking at doing a trip to America and getting married by Fat Elvis out in Vegas, and when we had a look at how much that was all going to cost, the trip and everything else, we said, geez, we could almost buy a place for this. We went shopping and found Beverley, and Beverley found us. It's a fantastic town. It just suits us perfectly. Gemma, my now wife, I'm still getting used to saying that, but she's right into art. She does some art herself, so the town's just set up for art and motorsport, basically.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other town that does that. It has a rally track, motocross track, all kinds out there. The day we put the money or got the loan for the place, I went out and bought a car to make a rally. We hadn't got the keys yet and hadn't gone through, but it was enough for me to go out and found this Ford Festiva for $150. Went around to my mate's place and took his Bobcat off his trailer and nicked the trailer and went around and got this car. And we already had the apartment at the time, so it kind of lived on his Bobcat trailer for 6 months until we actually got the keys to the place, and it went up there. And then got up there, put it in the shed, and my missus turned around and said, "You're not allowed to spend any money on that car until after our wedding." So it kind of sat there for 3 years, me planning and building everything in my head on what I wanted to do with the car. And the day after our wedding, the wedding was on a Sunday. On the Monday, I had, I think it was 3 or 4 different delivery trucks rock up with parts. Yeah. That I'd ordered, on the Friday, knowing that technically I wouldn't have them until after the wedding. And then it started, So everything you can see on that car has been over the last 5 months. Yeah. It's just been non-stop. It's been fantastic.
You should plug the Instagram page. I didn't even know on the Podfilter Instagram page as well. There's been updates on the car and your Facebook page.
There has,
Yeah, so I know the volume of work that's gone into that car.
Simon, my co-host, cracked the shits with me putting pictures of the Festi on the podcast Instagram all the time. So I made its own one. Yeah, where he can't whinge about it. So it's Festi, FESTY_AF, which is the number plates on the car. Yeah, and that Instagram has just pictures of the Festi on there, so you can see everything that I've done.
The volume of work on the car has been quite phenomenal, hasn't it? You've done quite a lot to it in such a short period of time. I mean, it was literally straight after your wedding, bang, you're into it, and every day. I remember getting
that was my honeymoon. Was me in the car in bed, and it's all been dirt cheap as well. So I bought the car for $150. It had a fried out clutch. That's some of the earliest pictures on the Instagram. So the Instagram's sequential as well. You can see it start to finish, which it's not really finished, but so it was $150 for the car, $150 for another clutch for it, and then all the things that I've bought have been cheap for it. So the coilover suspension is all meant for a Golf, Mark II Golf. I just made it fit the Festi. Obviously, the cutting out the wheel arches was a $1 blade for the Sawzall, so that was nice and cheap. And, got rid of the headlights. I made $400 on the tail light. So the original tail lights are in high demand in America because they never got the clear ones that we did. Those clear ones are only in Australia, so ripped them out and sold them to a bloke in America, and he paid $400 for them plus shipping, which was pretty. I was shaking my head when I saw it, but
so
probably shouldn't be telling it to everyone because they're going to go get them. And
you were up $100 at this stage.
Yeah, made money out of a car. Everyone tells me you can't do that, but
there you go. You
you see by the pictures, all the headlights are out, and I put a light bar in there.
Yeah,
just loads of fun stuff. It's so freeing playing with a car that's not going to be road registered. This is the first time. Other than that, the Tarzan was never going to be registered, hence the crazy paint job all over the glass. But not having to build to any rules really. So I'm making this car for BOMSA, Beverly Off-Road Motorsport Association. That's the rally track out in Beverly.
Has a big following, that association, I must say. I know people.
Yeah, well, that's good because I'm the social media guy for the track now. So if you're seeing it, it's it's great bunch of people, fantastic. You know, I wasn't even allowed to go out and look at the track until after the wedding. It was part of the rules. But yeah, fantastic setup that they've got, and they're evolving quite rapidly as well. You know, they're changing with the times, which is brilliant, and they're really focused on juniors as well. So getting people who have just got their license out there to have a play in the dirt, which is fantastic. So
it's all about grassroots, isn't it?
It is. It's absolutely grassroots, and I don't think you'd find any cheaper form of motorsport. You know better than I do, being in the motorsport side of things. But it's like, I think it's $50 for joining the club, and then there's the CAMS/Motorsports Australia stuff, and it's the second lowest level, which is relatively cheap. I think it's about $100, and then $50 on the day to race. So for $200, you can't find anything cheap, and you don't have to do anything to your car. You can just have factory seatbelts. There's a couple of little things like making sure that the battery's secure and stuff like that, which it should be on a street car anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But you really don't have to do much. I mean, most of the stuff I'm doing is just for shits and giggles. It's not. You don't have to have LED tail lights that pull a finger. That's me doing that.
Grassroots motorsport and the race wars. I know they're moving up in the speed, and some of that to get up over 300 k's an hour is sort of big money these days. But still, the general feel and to participate in the event is still grassroots feel. So we really need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really looking at when Race Wars comes back. I want to take the Festi out there just for shits and giggles. See if I can beat the Go-Go Mobile. That'll be my challenge.
I think you should be able to do that. I think you can comfortably.
Yeah, you would think so, but this is me we're talking about, and a $150 car. I bet you that Go-Go Mobile costs a lot more than $150.
Yeah, true. But I spent most of the Monday broken down, to be truthful. But anyway, that's another story. the sprint day. Thanks to the...
Yeah, well, I finally got myself a trailer, so I'll be able to get it to places, which is good, because the farm in Beverly is literally just up the road from the track, so I could basically get the car to the track without going on the roads. Not 100% legally, but legally enough. There's only 2 cops in town. If I know where they are, I can avoid them. You're going to have to cut that bit out.
They'll be fine. They'll be right. I'm sure they're not.
Yeah, I don't think the cops listen to it. Something. Not the 2 cops in town anyway. So I'm hoping it's been this COVID thing. So I spent 3 years planning and 6 months building that car, and the first race was the day after they started putting restrictions on how many people can get together.
Yeah.
So I still yet to drive it in anger. Which is a bit annoying, but I'm happy to be your in the field reporter for Bomser once we're up and running.
We'd love to have that. That would be great.
Reports.
If we can get
and I was just talking to the guys that run the track out in Northam as well. Again, because now I've got a trailer.
Yep.
As long as the dates don't conflict, I could be going out there as well and reporting for you.
Yeah. No, we'd love
live
that,
report while I'm racing.
Like, yeah, while you're racing, whatever, or perhaps maybe just focus on the racing, and when you deviate into the pits, give us a. No, that would be good. No jokes aside, we'd love to have someone that, as I said, we want to have a focus on grassroots, so that would be great if we could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and I want to explain to newbies like I am what's involved in getting the car together and the processes you go through so you can come out and race.
Yeah.
There's not a hell of a lot of information. I mean, our scrutineer, Max, is fantastic, but he must crack the shits with the 1,001 questions I get. Well, I give him all the time, and I bet you they're not questions that he gets before, like, am I allowed to have a light bar instead of headlights, and weird and wonderful things I want to do to my car. But
well, clearly the answer to that was yes. So, because I see you got that's quite a lengthy light bar on the front of that.
Yeah. Well, that was only because it had a broken headlight. I made it up, but it was. And I follow a lot of there's Instagram guys that design cars in 3D by modelling rather than actual cars. So Kaisel Salim and the Brad, and there's quite a few different other guys that make really funky looking cars. That they were kind of the inspiration behind the light bar.
Yeah, okay.
And the LED tail lights and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, no, it's different. Let's put it that way. It's certainly different.
It is, yeah. I can't wait to see it actually racing. I think it'll be pretty good.
So any update then on when, like, I know the announcement's probably tomorrow, but have you got a heads up on a likelihood, like, in the next couple of months?
I'm obviously on the committee, and we've been having regular catch-ups on Zoom and Skype and all the rest of the things that I've put on here. But, we're just waiting. I know the Northern track kind of jumped the gun a little bit and announced its new dates during the week this week.
Yep.
Which they don't conflict with the Bomser dates at present, but our dates may change when we'll get up and running again. So, it's a bit of a wait and see, but I'll definitely let you know second we're good.
That would be great. Anyway, getting back to you.
My favourite topic of conversation.
Motorbikes. I know you're big on bikes as well, and you've had a few period, and you've finished just recently building one as well. Can you tell us a bit about that?
The one for Gemma, yeah. So that's for my wife. She's doing her learners now. It's a GPX 250. Very light and small because Gemma's only quite small and light herself, so needed something that she could move around freely. I got it given to me for nothing. It was a friend of mine had it and crashed it God knows how many times. I don't know if you're listening, Anthony, but best thing you ever did was get rid of that bike because you're definitely not a motorbike rider. You're a motorbike crasher, but not a motorbike rider. So, I did him a favour and took it off his hands. And, we stripped it all down, fixed it all up, and it's got a very unique paint job. I'm sure you've got pictures of it up now, but it's Ford Midnight Royal Purple is the tank colour, and then all the frame and everything else is bronze. So, it's just been through its registration, got it registered. So that was... it was quite breezy, actually. It's a hell of a lot easier to get a motorbike registered than it is a car.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, she's sitting out the front of the apartment at the moment, all locked up. And, Gemma's doing it too. But, I had the VFR 750 F. It was another bike that was donated to me, actually. It was given to me because the guy was going through a divorce and didn't want his missus to have it. So he said, take this. Again, it needed a lot of work. It had been sitting out the back of his shed for years. Got it like 80% of the way there, and then it got stolen from my place. So,
wow.
That never eventuated. So.
Yep.
So, to whoever stole that bike, if you want the keys for it, just come back and see me. I'm not that. It hasn't really been. Yeah, you might as well have the keys for it as well. In fact, if you bring a carton of beer, I'll give you the paperwork for it too. It was a free bike. But I've also got, I think there's 4 or 5 in the picture I sent you of other motorbikes that are sitting in my shed up at the farm that are all projects.
Yep.
They're all GSX, Suzuki GSX 250s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're from 4 different consecutive years. So I think it's 82, 83, 84, 85.
Yeah, okay.
So hopefully out of all of them, I can make one decent bike so I can go riding with Gemma.
Yeah. No, sounds good, Adam. Sounds great.
Yeah.
And collection of utes as well. I know you've got a BA at the moment that gave you a little bit.
Yeah, the BA. I couldn't find any good pictures of it. Or the only pictures I've got of it is when I've got crap in the back of it.
Yeah. But, I know the local heat gave you a bit of heat for that. Local police gave you a bit of grief over that.
Oh, yeah, the yellow sticker for it. God, that was... I mean, I knew it was coming because I bought that ute for $2,000 and it had issues, put it that way. But I was just starting to work through them and, got pulled up. I mean, the reason I got pulled up was I had like 100-odd bloody chairs from a pub in the back of it that were for the wedding. So she was sitting a bit low when I was driving along, and there was a tower of chairs out the back of it. Drove past the cop going the other way, and he, straight away he said, "Oh, I have him." And I'd literally just come out of the pub as well, which didn't do me any favours. Trying to convince him that I wasn't there drinking, I was just there picking up the chairs. But he turned around and said, "You have to be drinking to get that many fucking chairs." Yeah.
So he wasn't buying it.
So it got all kinds of weird and wonderful things on the sticker, and I wasn't happy about it. Obviously, no one's ever happy about the sticker. So went to Simon, my co-host, and said, "We've got to do a episode about yellow stickers, because this is a travesty. You're guilty until you prove an innocent, and all the rest of this stuff." But Simon turns around and says, "No, you got what you really deserved. You shouldn't have been driving the shit like Scoot." Right, fine, we won't do a podcast on yellow stickers. And then 6 months later, he got yellow stickered in his yellow bloody Honda, and the roles reversed. It was, we've got to do a podcast on yellow stickers. This is a travesty. They're hunting people down. And
I must say one thing in regards to Simon. His video that he did it was a 17-minute video that summarised.
Where he's sitting and talk to the camera.
Yeah. I actually watched that because I actually took away a lot out of that. And in my personal view, there's still some flaws in the way the government are handling yellow stickers. I don't completely agree with how that can happen, but understand, and I think Simon admits that the car was too low. That said, the way they've gone about doing that was not ideal. It's not in the spirit of issuing yellow stickers, I don't feel. No,
it's pretty crappy how they're doing it, and they openly admit that they're targeting people with YouTube channels and stuff like that, just because. There was predecessors, definitely not Simon, but there's been other YouTube channels that have been flaunting the rules quite badly.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I said that while I've got a picture of my car shooting flames on a public road behind me, so that's not going to do me any favours, is it?
That is cool, but I love
that.
It's
actually a real funny story about me getting pulled up with those flamethrowers. When I first put them in, I got pulled over on the side of the road by an old cop and a young cop, and they went over the car and they weren't happy about the bug catcher out the bonnet, which they never are.
No.
But managed to smooth that over, and then the young cop was looking underneath it because it sits quite tall at the back, and saw the 2 coils and spark plugs into the exhaust. Then he calls the old cop over and says, "Look at this, what the hell's this all about?" And I said to him, "Oh, that's the predecessors for catalytic converters. Before they had catalytic converters back in the 60s, they used to have the spark plugs in there to burn off the excess. All the bad stuff going into the air gets burnt off." And the old cop turns around and goes, "Oh, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen that in my time." And we're both looking at the young cop going, see, and I'm pulling all kinds of faces behind the old cop's back. And yeah, he just cracked the shits and drove off. Gave me my license back. I don't even think he gave the license back to me. I think he threw it into the car and they took off. But, yeah.
I must say, I remember one night, we didn't know each other back then, but I remember that one night that for some reason we were at Fremantle in Captain Munchie's car park. It was a night time and you lit it up there, the exhaust that is, not the tyres, but yeah. I was, he's impressive, especially.
That was probably nighttime cruise club.
Yeah, it might have been, Clint's
club.
Yeah, Clint's cruise. Yeah, it could have well been. Yeah. And
actually, if you ever want really good tyres, go and see Clint.
Yeah, okay.
He works at a wholesaler up your way, up in Wangara.
Okay.
I don't think you'd actually buy them off him, but you can do a deal through a tyre shop.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Nighttime Car Cruises there, Facebook page. Head on over there. And
actually, he's probably another guy to get on.
Yeah, certainly. He certainly would be.
About his wagon.
Yeah, most definitely. We should reach out to Clint, actually. I haven't spoken with him or seen him for some time now, actually, so be good to do that. Anyway, Adam, I mean, look, anywhere else we can find information about your rides and all your vehicles? And
so there's the Instagram for the podcast, and I've got my own Instagram, but I don't do a hell of a lot on there. I think probably the best bet for now is the Festi.
Yep, Festi.
Podcast. Festi Instagram, sorry. Too many bloody social medias, I tell you. But,
and the pod filter, of course.
Yeah, actually, it was quite funny. We were discussing the pod filter and stuff today, and I was saying, do you ever listen to the Thong Slappers podcast?
Yeah, occasionally.
Not automotive one.
Yeah,
out of Queensland.
Yeah, not often, but I do from time to time.
Yeah, they have the same issue as I do. Like my dynamic, the people that I reach to are all guys with steel bumpers and stuff. But the problem being is they're all carby and drum brake guys. They don't like anything new, and podcasts are new. So trying to shot myself. I think Thong Slappers unfortunately have the same drama.
We have the same drama too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all challenged with that. I feel even in our demographic as well. I think we're challenged with that too.
Yeah. I've got a pretty good spiel now of how to explain it to people that don't know what podcasts are. It's like Netflix, but for the radio.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that usually gets third one.
Hey, Adam, look, we really appreciate your time coming on the podcast. It's been great. It's been a blast having you here. Head on over to the Pod Filter, listen to your content. There's some great episodes. You're in your second season, and we're looking forward to the changes that are coming. Look, I'll keep an eye out and an ear out. And
I can't say much, but you should hear something in the next week or so.
Yeah,
about the new and improved.
Yep.
Pod Filter podcast. But you don't have to go and listen to it. We don't do it for profit or anything. So I'm not your mum. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yeah, no, that's right. And neither do we. So, we're not we don't turn a cent, but we just do it because we enjoy. This is exactly what we enjoy, but isn't it, Adam? Like talking.
Yeah. Well, we've got a reason why we can't make money because bloody Simon's here on a visa. If he's making dual incomes, he'll get kicked out of the country. So.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yep.
That's our excuse anyway.
What's mine then? I've been given a fair bit of hate from the other boys. Say, come on, we need to try and get a sponsor. So if there's a sponsor listening out there, there's two.
Well, how much is sponsorship? Maybe we can sponsor yours. We'll do a trade. Yeah,
that sounds good.
You can sponsor ours, and we'll sponsor yours, and they'll pay for each other.
Win-win.
That'll work.
Win-win. Yeah. All right, Adam. All right. Look, we really appreciate your time.
And we've been talking about the next quiz.
Yes,
so we had the last one.
Talk about the quizzes.
So the next quiz, my idea, tell me if you think it's crap, because I'll ignore you. I'm thinking a State of Origin podcast. So you guys and us team up as the West Australian team, and we compete against Queensland being the Thong Slappers, if they're on board.
Yep.
And Victoria being Car Talk with Matty J, who have already said that they're definitely keen to do something.
Oh, well, we're definitely count us in as well, most certainly.
Yeah, beauty.
No doubt.
Represent.
Yep.
Represent WA, especially now we've got our hard border up and we're talking about secession. All right, thanks, mate.
All right, Adam, we really appreciate your time. Thanks. Take care.
Talk and Power, your motorsport and motoring radio show. Podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.